Hey friends, how you doing? Welcome to another midweek. And I know you're thinking, man, things are different. It's daylight out there. Brandon's not sitting in his car. And I know because I get today off because it's a holiday. And all of that is thanks to the veterans out there. And so I just want to take a quick second to say thank you so much for all the past, present, and future veterans out there. Your sacrifice means everything. And so, and not just yours, but the sacrifice from your family. Maybe you had a spouse when you were in the military. Your parents definitely sacrificed their feelings so that you could go serve our country. And maybe you left some kids behind as you went over to serve. And so whether you're a parent, a child, a sibling, a mother, a father of a veteran, I just want to say thank you guys so much. But ultimately, thank you to the veterans who are over there right now, who have been there and who have fought for our freedom. I know we take for granted all the time this country and the freedoms that we have. And so I just, again, thank you doesn't give it justice, but I hope that you understand, like, I am for you. I am grateful for the freedom that you've given me and my family. And so with everything that I have, I say thank you so, so much. And so this week, I'm going to take a break from Mark, and I just want to kind of share a story with you that really kind of, it hit me a little bit this week. And so Sunday we're at church, we're doing church, everything's going well. And there's some Sundays where I just feel like I don't want to go home and cook anything. Like I don't want to, like, let's go grab lunch together as a family. And so before I could even ask Jess if she wanted to go, I had an idea of where I wanted to go eat. Chinese buffets are my guilty pleasure. I try not to eat there very often because sometimes the food is just mediocre, but it's still so good. It's like they put like some sort of drug in there that's addicting. And so that's what I had in mind, but Jess usually doesn't like the buffet. And so I try not to take her there as often, but I was really kind of feeling it. And before I could even suggest where to go eat, she says, we should go to Macomb and eat at Yummy Chin. Now, I don't know if you've ever been to Yummy Chin, but probably since I've been there for the first time, this was my third or fourth time there. And I got to tell you, they haven't paid me for this advertisement, but it is the best Chinese food in the area. Like, this place competes with places like P.F. Chang's and these really high-end places in the big cities. Like, this is a fantastic Chinese restaurant. The only downfall, it's not a buffet, but the food is so good, you don't even realize that. And it is fantastic. So if you ever get a chance to go over there, check it out. So this is where she suggested we go eat. I'm like, you know what? We could go spend the day in Macomb. We'll hit the park at Carthage on the way back, and that's where we'll go. And so I already had in my mind the plan. We're going to go eat lunch. We'll come back. They have a really cool playground in Carthage. I mean, it's really cool. It's like hand designed, and all the elements are for all ages, and it's really cool. And so the kids like to go over there and play sometimes. And so the idea was we would go eat lunch, we'd come back, play there on our way home, and then come back. And so we get all the way up there. Now, granted, this whole COVID thing and the mask and all that stuff, like that's pretty common now. So I didn't even think to call ahead to see if there was any other restrictions going on while we were there. But we get up there, and there's a few cars in the parking lot. And I said, okay, good, they're open. That's great. And so we get in there, and they said, of course, you have to wear your mask. All that stuff's on the door. But then there's a sign that I didn't see, but Jess saw it. And she says, no indoor dining. And my heart just kind of sunk. And I'm like, well, there's other places I guess we could go. And Jess is trying to think. And I said, no, we came here to eat at Yummy Chin, and that's where we're going. And so I said, what we'll do is we'll order our food. I know the square has a nice park on it right there by the railroad, by the train station. And so there's a really nice little playground area over there. I'm sure they have picnic tables. It was a beautiful day. It was a little bit windy on Sunday, but the weather was gorgeous. And I said, why don't we just order our food and we'll pick it up and we'll just go to the park and we'll just eat there. Still, we'll eat there and then we'll go play at the playground in Carthage. So we get our food. We get over there. We find a great picnic table. We sit down. It's just a beautiful day. The problem is the kids see the playground there at the park and they want to go play. And so we eat, and we got to remind them, like, hey guys, after we eat, we're going to go to a park. And this is what really hit me is I knew where we were going. I knew, Jess knew, we both knew the park that we were going to. And even though we tried to illustrate that to the kids, all they could see is the here and now. All they could imagine is what's right in front of them. They're not even paying attention to what's coming. And so it really hit me. And I told Jess, even after this moment, as we were driving to Carthage to go to the park after lunch, I said, man, this is going to be my midweek video this week, because as I was reflecting on that, I kept thinking, how easy is it for us as Christians to fall into the trap of right here and right now? You know, Peter is the only person to ever describe Christians as nearsighted. And what he's saying is exactly that point, is that you and I as Christians, we aren't looking long-term. We're not looking to the future. We're not looking to our eternal life. We are living our life in the right here and the right now. And I just wonder sometimes if God, or even the disciples, or maybe your spiritual mentors who have been trying to dive into you and share these news with you, they know where you're going. They know the park that you're headed to, but yet we get so captivated by what's right in front of us. We see other kids living in sin, and we see other kids on the slide and playing and having a good time and enjoying the here and the now. And right here, this looks great, right? I could sit here on the picnic table and watch all of this stuff that looks fantastic right here in front of me, but all that really is instant gratification. And if I could get my mind on the things above, if I can get my vision to go beyond the right here and just see what's beyond the barrier, see what's beyond this life, I wonder if I would start making decisions that are better for me or greater for me, knowing where I'm going, knowing the playground that I'm headed to. And so as the kids are sitting there, Grace understood. She's old enough where she's like, okay, we're going to go to that park. I know that park. But yet still, she was in the right here, right now, too. It was the younger kids who just didn't understand it. They just could not fathom that we are at a playground. You said we could play at a playground. Why can't I go down the slide? Why can't I go on the swing? And just trying to help them understand there is a better place we're going to. A place where you're going to have so much more fun, where you're going to enjoy a lot of different activities. If you just trust me, it's going to be a lot better than right here. And as I tried to explain to Declan, my 3-year-old, he just didn't get it. And he just was like, what? He wanted to be here and now. To him, whatever was here was good enough. Now, end of that story, we ended up going to the park in Carthage, and the kids had a blast. In fact, there was a girl there that showed up a few minutes after we did, who was just kind of playing on her own, and Declan ended up going and playing with her. Had no idea who she was, but they kept going around, and Declan would teach her how to climb up the rope ladders and all the cool stuff, and going down the slide, and just to see him in his element. And that's when it hit me that it's like he wouldn't have had this experience if he stayed at the here and now. But he had this grand experience of enjoying life with someone he's never met, and being a friend to her and her being a friend to him. And it was just, it was awesome. It was kind of an emotional moment, because I'm watching this take place, and I said, man, we could have just settled for less. But look at the greatness that happened because we came here. And I started thinking, and this verse pops into my mind. It comes from Galatians chapter 5, and it starts with verse 16. And I just want to read this to you, and then we'll talk about it, and then we'll be done for today. It says, so I say, this is Paul, walk by the Spirit, and you will not gratify the desires of the flesh. For the flesh desires what is contrary to the Spirit, and the Spirit what is contrary to the flesh. They are in conflict with one another, so that you are not to do whatever you want. But if you are led by the Spirit, you are not under the law. Okay, so what Paul is saying is you and I, we have two worlds that are trying to fight for our attention. We have our spiritual side, and we have the side of the flesh, or sin. And he says they don't coexist very well. And what's happening is the devil is so good about making everything about the flesh. I mean, everything about the flesh can fail. What feels good, what looks good, what sounds good, what smells good, all these things, the senses that you and I are feeling in our bodies, all of those things lead to some sort of gratification, right? When you walk into a bakery and you can smell the pie cooking, man, this is what gets me excited about Thanksgiving in a few weeks. All the pie, all the food, you know, but when you walk into that bakery and you could just smell the baked goods or whatever it is that you're there, the cookies, whatever it is that you're there to buy, you want something here and now, right? You can't just walk into a shop like that and be like, oh, I'm just here for the smells and walk away. No, you have to buy something. Why? Because you have to meet the need that sense is showing you. Right? Same thing with everything else. When you see something you desire, we live in a world where we instantly gratify. So when we see a desire, especially when you're an adult, it makes Christmas shopping really difficult now for me, because I'm at the point in my life where you probably are too, watching this video, that when you want something or you need something, you just go and buy it, right? There's really nothing that I need. And so when people ask me every year, hey, what do you want for Christmas? Or my parents ask me, or Jess ask me, it's really hard to give them an answer. And to be honest, I'm that guy now to where I'm like, I could use a new pair of socks and some underwear. I never thought that I'd get there, but I am that guy now. And so it's like, because that's always a resource that you could always keep coming back to. You can always have a fresh pair of underwear. And so if you take nothing else from this video, understand you can always have a fresh pair of underwear. And so that's just me. But the thing is we have that moment where we see something, we desire it, we have it, right? That's our eyes. And then it's something that feels good. If it feels good, why not keep it, right? That's our motto in America. Well, whatever feels good to them, to each their own, right? If it feels good to you, then that means it's good to go. And it's yours. Nobody can tell you that you can't have it because it feels good, right? And then all the other things. Hearing, if it sounds good, it's yours. And so we've allowed our culture to be immersed in this idea of being gratified. And what Paul is saying is that you can't live a life where you're satisfying your senses, where you're satisfying your gratification, because if you do, you're settling for the here and the now. What would happen if instead we started settling our spiritual senses? If we started going after what spiritually feels good, what we know to do spiritually. And if anybody understands this, it's Paul. I mean, he writes, he goes, there are things that I want to do that I just can't do, and things that I don't want to do that I do. And he understands that this is a mess. And if you're watching this, you're probably thinking, yeah, that's me. I struggle in this world. But what if we waited for what's coming? What if instead of just enjoying the here and the now and being gratified in the moment, we picture of what's coming, the park that's ahead? Yeah, we see the slide, we see the swings, we see the teeter-totter, and all the cool things that we don't get to play with every day at home. But what if I told you there was a kingdom coming that is so much greater than this world? That there is a kingdom that is coming that is built for you, that God has designed specifically for you and I to enjoy. Things like streets of gold, animals and colors that we've probably never even experienced, and all this great stuff that is at the park that we're going to. So if I can encourage you today, my encouragement would be this: don't settle for the here and now. It may seem fun, it may feel good, it may entice you in so many different ways, but it's always going to leave you feeling empty. Because one day we're going to be driving by that park that was promised to you and I. And we're going to be going there. And I know for me, I'm already going to have regrets where it's like, man, why didn't I wait for this? This would be so much more fun. I could have spent more time enjoying this, but instead I gave into my temptation. I gave into my weakness. I gave into my flesh. And so, friends, I don't know where you are with that, but I just pray and I hope that we start putting the spiritual eyes on, that we start looking at the world with these lenses, so that we aren't the far-sighted Christians that Peter is talking about. Sorry, I got a little jumbled there in my mind. But hey, again, we love you guys. We hope that you're doing well. Happy Veterans Day again, if you're a veteran out there. And I just want to say again, thank you so much for your sacrifice. I'm able to do videos like this because of people like you. And so I can't thank you enough. And I hope that you guys have a blessed week and just enjoy the rest of your week. And if you're feeling down, just know, hey, the sun's shining, you're breathing, and that's another reason to give God glory. So I love you guys. I hope to see you this weekend. Enjoy the rest of your week. Be safe out there, and have a great Veterans Day.